always got to make sure that the mic is on. But how you living? Welcome back to No Cap. Man, long day, boy. Still trying to get back into a normal schedule, boy. Weather change, schedule change, routine changes. Just the slightest change to throw everything off. Yeah, we good. The last picture I had, right, on podcast yesterday, term that was on there was breadcrumbing, right? And definition of breadcrumbing, or as it's commonly being used right now, is somebody who is communicating or interacting minimally just to keep somebody attached without showing genuine interest and just stringing them along without committing. That term, just like others, is being overused because very rarely are people being breadcrumbed when they themselves show genuine interest. A lot of times you hear people complain about somebody breadcrumbing them. You can look back and be like, okay, how involved are you in communicating? How interested do you show yourself to be? How invested are you in this person or getting to know this person? And if you were to track their behavior or to pay attention to their mannerisms, you would realize that very often the folk complain about being breadcrumbed are very passive in their participation in building a relationship or interacting, participate in a relationship. So it's not so much breadcrumbing as it is reciprocation. And reciprocation is one of my favorite words, one of my favorite parts of interacting with people, because you can tell who's self-aware and who isn't self-aware, because when you interact with people to the same degree that they interact with others, quite often, especially nowadays, they get extremely offended. Like, how you're choosing to interact with me, I take that as disrespect. But when you're reciprocating, you're getting out what you put in. So the same way a relationship is 50-50, if somebody is giving 5% and you give them 5%, they get offended that you're not giving the 95. And then again, another one of these euphemisms or gaslightings, I'm going to take what I'm experiencing through my prism of reality, and I'm going to describe it in a way that fills the plot holes of my lack of touch of reality. That's another part of delusion that you shouldn't validate, shouldn't celebrate, you shouldn't even allow around you, honestly. But people are going to be people, you know? What's going on? Oh man, got a text, man, about some of the most random things ever, boy. The things that I focus on, the things that I communicate on a daily basis about are so absolutely random, but gotta find the little joys in life, man. Hey, you see what the topic is? We're gonna absolutely keep the topic as direct and cutthroat as possible. Pardon me as I try to get myself situated. As I try to get myself situated back behind the camera. But it can't get much more clear than that. Everybody understands what's going on this weekend. And again, podcast is going to be about different things. Like some of the topics are already behind me. Some of the topics are ones that I spoke about when I led up to the pod. Could be movies, could be entertainment, news, shit. Could be one about the weather. It's global warming is a bitch. Sports, anime, music, again, entertainment. Social issues, political issues, lapses in communication, storytelling, could be anything. But they want to get into current events with EBT and SNAP benefits being officially cut off this weekend. A lot of people who were overindulging or manipulating the system are now going to have to adjust their lifestyle and adjust their choices and come back to earth, get back in touch with reality. And as harsh as it seems, it's not harsh. The thing that is quite obvious in the Trump administration is making it blatantly clear to a lot of people is money ain't free. And Americans, we got to the point where things have just been the way that they are for so long that people don't realize that all the shit that we do and that we take for granted costs money. Somebody's paying for it. If you're getting something for free, I guarantee you it's not free. Somebody's paying for it. Nothing is free. Some kind of resources being invested in that. And if you look at it long enough, you'll figure out where it comes from. But along with SNAP and EBT programs, you got Section 8, again, getting cut. And when situations like this pop up, you have the same issue, right, where you have people who argue for the exception instead of the rule, where, man, there's no way that they canceled that. You can't cancel that. It's impossible to cancel that because fill in the blank, and then you just insert whatever sob story you want. But the fact of the matter is the majority of people do not fit the example that people give. So these programs helped a lot of these people, yeah, but more often than not, it's just being taken advantage of. They're willing to bet the vast majority of people who participate in these programs don't need them. They just take advantage of them, and the money that they would spend on that, they put elsewhere. So these other things, these supplementary, tertiary purchases now become obligations and become primary because you don't spend money on the important things. When you never had to spend your own money on groceries, groceries are secondary in your mind. And with these programs being cut, you now have people who now have to start making actual rational decisions. Do I go buy these Jordans or do I put something in the fridge? Am I going to go get a sack? Are we going to go get a bottle? Am I going to the club? Or am I going to get food? Am I getting a wig? Am I getting my lashes done? Am I getting my nails done? Or am I paying rent? Because you look at the numbers, right, with Section 8, that part of it, the biggest beneficiaries are women, minority women. And that's because the program was built for those women. So they've never had to budget, never had to allocate funds and manage your priorities. Opportunity cost was never a thing. was always living a life of luxury. And as much as I want to feel bad about it, or you want to sympathize with people, when you see how these people act amongst other people, it's like, yeah, nah, I'm glad that you now have to live the same life as regular people. You enjoy when people have to come back to reality and come to terms with reality. I enjoy it. I love it. I love it. And there's nothing better than having to come to terms with reality, because then you come back to understanding. You become more sympathetic and empathetic because we're having a common experience. But you have folk who were not having common experiences. And $50 for rent a month or not paying anything at all is not fucking normal. Never having to pay groceries is not normal. And the worst part of it is the people who are accepted in these programs had the audacity on numerous occasions to look at others who aren't in these programs as less than. My rent is paid, so I'm going to spend my money on vacations. You broke if you can't go on vacations like me. I got to pay $1,800 a month for my spot. You pay nothing. You on government assistance, and you've been on government assistance your entire life because your mama was on it. How are you trying to make me feel less than when the programs were for poverty? Impoverished individuals. So to try to elevate yourself as upper class and then look down on middle class people is audacious, to say the least. And that's the thing about the Bible, man. The thing about these religious texts is they'll tell you, man, folks will try to convince you that what's left is right, what's right is left, what's right is wrong, what's wrong is right. Got you hating the truth and loving a lie. And that is, for lack of better terminology, just fucking crazy. You have people who are paying no rent because they had kids and no husband or no man above the age of 18 in their house, telling everybody else that they chose the wrong lifestyle. And the unfortunate part about it is the people who genuinely need it, because you don't hold others accountable, you all in the same group. You genuinely need Section 8, genuinely need SNAP. Like, you in a bind and you need this assistance to be able to try to inch your way back towards self-reliance. But you have the folk that are taking advantage of it and just, that's cool. But remember, it's not free money. Somebody is paying for it. There's no such thing as free. But I mean, lack of education, right? Folk just believe that it's free. And if there's nobody to explain to them how it works, people are just going to keep running off and thinking, well, what's the worst that could happen? You finding out right now. And that's the craziest thing, right? Where we'll be told we need to reset. If you've been on Section 8 longer than 2 years, why the fuck are you still on Section 8? The answer was obvious. Is, why would I get off of it? I can save money and not have to spend the same amount of money as other people. Why would I get off? I mean, like, it's a pretty logical decision to make. And majority of people would make that. You'd have to be a very upstanding, responsible individual to go, no, I don't need that free money because it's not free. You have to be informed and you have to be a high character individual to make that decision. Most people are not that. So people are just going to ride it out as long as they can. And right after, there's no consequence. But now that's being taken away. Now you don't get to just ride it out. Now you have to make logical decision making. Or you have to make logical decisions, pardon me. You have to use your brain to process. And scary part is, remember, a lot of people, just because you're in a fight or flight situation doesn't mean you're going to pick the right choice. There's going to be a whole lot of homelessness. Whole lot of homelessness. Crazy thing, right? When you travel, and I say it's a crazy thing because the world is crazy. There's so many crazy situations that if you don't acknowledge the craziness of them, you just start to think that's just normal, and it's not. If you wanna know if you're in a rich country or not, or if you're in a country that has money or not, or if you want to figure out whether you're in a country that runs well or not, look at the population of homeless people and look at the people using public transportation. Never fails. I've never heard this from anybody. It's just an observation I made just by looking around. In well-off countries, you very rarely see an attractive woman homeless. In countries that have real money, you will very rarely see attractive women using public transportation. I don't mean like, nah, she cute. I mean like, she fine. 8s and up. You rarely see 8s and up using public transportation or homeless on the street. In America, we've been under the guise of we have money because all our homeless people pretty much look away. They look like they've been drugged out. They look like life has been hard. When you got attractive women on the streets homeless, you in a bad spot because usually somebody's there to help. You know, pretty privilege. Family members, friends, a man, hell, a woman. Somebody will be there to help. When there's nobody there, you got to be down bad. Guess what's about to happen? Your mama went and got an SRT. It's because she wasn't paying her rent. Ain't no way she gonna be able to afford rent and a car payment. Might not be able to afford neither. But guess what you and your sister's about to be doing? Get your cousins who live with your mama about to be doing. With your auntie who also live with your mama about to be doing. Selling pussy, catching rides, riding that bus, or putting blisters on the soles of your feet. Only option. Because when you're dealing with scarcity, you got to start making some rash decisions, real tough decisions. And that takes you just a little bit closer to human instinct where your survival instincts pop up. You got to do something. Even though you might not use them, they there somewhere. You in a situation where, shoot, it's live or die, life or death decisions. That hardware was already instilled in you before you started crawling. It ain't something you had to learn or watch. It's something that was already put in you. The manufacturer installed that. And it is getting real. Folks, it's about to start making life or death decisions. Eat today. Do I look good on Instagram today? Social media about to get real fucking serious. And it's gonna be a little bit closer to what's actually real. The struggle part of life is about to pop up, because what you gonna do when there's no excess of flourishment and everybody ain't on vacation, everybody ain't eating steak and lobster, everybody not eating them crab boils, everybody not able to wear them new outfits, go shopping, buy them new cars. You shoot, all of these luxuries of life, when people can't post that because it's not real no more. There's only so many times you can post the old shit before people start noticing, hey man, that's some old shit. Take me back to, yeah, we didn't see you say that over and over again. You need some new shit. When there's not gonna be anything and you're already addicted to your social media, what's next? Begging. Talking about how hard life is, hardships, normalcy, reality. It might not be this year, but 2026, social media is gonna be it's gonna be some real shit. There's gonna be some stories Tyler Perry couldn't create. You know what I mean? Yeah, Tyler Perry. But it's gonna be some struggle stories, boy. Like Hollywood's never seen. Been getting over for the longest. There are people who have been on Section 8 the entirety of their life. Or there were adults who were on Section 8 from the 90s up to now who ain't saved a dime. You ain't had to pay rent and you ain't did nothing with that advantage. You just been coasting. And you get no sympathy for poor decision making. That right there, that's a generational curse. Making a poor decision over and over and over. Rent going from 500 to 1,000 to 1,500 for the same size unit, and you've consistently had to pay nothing, and you've worked, and you've never saved a dollar because you never had to save it because you always relied on this. You always assumed it was going to be there. You don't deserve sympathy. People who have been on these programs for decades, and there are quite a few people who've been on these government assistance programs for decades, get the same level of sympathy as white homeless people, white American homeless people. Wasting government assistance for decades is equivalent to wasting white privilege. Motherfucker, you had a leg up and you did nothing with it, and you in the same spot. The money that you would have had to pay for rent, if you just put that to the side, you know how rich you would be right now? You multiply your rent payment times 12, then by every year, you could have bought some land and the house and been straight. What you spend your money on? Do the excuses. Same with the white homeless people. Nigga, all you got to do is take a shower, look presentable, and walk in anywhere, and they'll give you a job on the spot. Said you on the corner holding a sign that says retired vet, need help. You ain't never enlisted. And on the backside it says cash for homes. Don't feel no sympathy for you because you fucked up the play. But I mean, your decision, not mine. Back to the snap though. EBT. Crazy thing is, we all know a plethora of people who were selling them. And now you have to figure out whether these people were selling them because they just didn't need them, or they were selling them because they were trying to get a leg up. Because when you no longer have them to sell, what's plan B? Did you have a plan B? When you put in situations like this, you learn a whole lot about people. When you presented with an obstacle, you presented with a challenge, a change in your lifestyle. That sink or swim shit tells you everything you need to know about people. And let's believe that shit is sink or swim. Because they replaced, could we jumping into it? They replaced the family structure of a man and a woman with a woman in the government. And you mix the government assistance with feminism, and especially in the black community, which this heavily affects, you're now in a situation in which you replaced the man and the father figure with faceless individuals. And these faceless individuals are things that you do not control. So when these things are now stripped away because you are not in control of them, what's left? And that shows how much men were valued then. And the crazy thing about this decision to revoke these programs is now you're about to find out the true value of men. Because in your head, or in your ancestors' head, or in the generation before you, in their minds, if a man isn't providing food or providing shelter, worthless. And even if he is providing either, if I can replace him with one of these programs, he's worthless. Now, the men who were considered worthless, where are they at now? Because remember, those programs only went to women mainly. To be a man, you had to be going through some shit, or be white. But the men who were the biggest recipients of the consequences and had to bear the brunt of the responsibility of these changes, where they at? They didn't just disappear. They didn't die off. They went somewhere. We about to find them. And wait to have this conversation, right, with folk. Start to figure out just how little people know about their situations and what led them to their situations. And it's a pity, but when you choose to learn and it's voluntary, you put yourself in an amazing situation compared to now it's involuntary and you have to learn because your lifestyle is being forcibly changed. And with all these changes happening, right? Now we get to talk about what impact these changes will have. Just hinted at it before. When you got cute girls and attractive women homeless and walking the streets, life is going to be different. Life is going to be different. The power is going to shift back over to the other side because the dating situation has always been well, not always, but has recently been terrible just because there's an overabundance in the availability of sex. Pussy too easy to get. Imagine how easy it's about to get when they legitimately can't afford their bill. Don't know where their next meal is coming from. Walking the streets. Y'all was willingly giving it away voluntarily with no logic behind it. Just you felt like doing it. Now you trying to make ends meet. I seen somebody joke about it, man. Pussy about to be $40 again. You got 220s, you about to be getting it up. $40 is about to make America great again. Sorry to say it, but the craziest thing is about to happen where this might be the last voluntary, just whimsical, impulsive cuffing season ever. Might be, or for a long stretch of time, because you're going to need shelter. And regardless of government assist or not, regardless of the perception of there being more intelligent, educated, independent women than ever, the vast majority still want a man and still will prefer a man provide shelter for them. But the majority are not in a position where they can provide this thing for themselves. So you got the ones who can do for themselves that don't want to do it. And now you're about to have the ones who don't do it for themselves with no option. Folks either about to be shacking up and the family structures are about to start popping up again, or about to be living like Mexicans. 36 of us in the living room. Pallets on the floor. You can't even see it. You don't know whether it's wood, tile, or carpet flooring because it's going to be blankets everywhere lapping up. Take the furniture out. That's just real life, right? All the money you was spending on shoes, shit look cute. The vacations you talking about, the shit look cute. It look fun, but it's not one of the non-negotiables of sustaining life. It's not one of those things where I can't live without it. It's not one of those mandatory provisions. Shelter is. And shelter is expensive because of the fact. Like, in a lot of cities, the price of a 2-bedroom, bruh. Crazy. 1-bedrooms in cities is crazy. Because you mixing a lot of people getting booted off of Section 8. If I'm not mistaken, if you've been on Section 8 longer than 2 years, you're getting booted off. Just, hey, figure it out. The cost of living from when you got on your program to now, incomparable. I used to work in property management. Every time you renewed your contract, the price of your spot went up. You just didn't have to take the brunt of that. So if you moved into some place like 8 years ago, your rent was $700, your shit at a minimum double that right now. And if you couldn't afford $700, what you think you about to do with $1,700? Not even $1,700. Like, a lot of times people move into a 3-bedroom. I got multiple kids. Cost of this spot 15 years ago, $900. Let's just be friendly. $900. A 3-bedroom now. Minimal 1,800. Minimum. If it's in a nice spot, 2 bands and up. You couldn't pay $900. Where you about to get 2 bands from? sad story, but needed. Because even though a lot of people have benefited from these programs, again, say it again, the shit not free. Our country is in a, you can't even say a hole. The state of our economy is like the very deepest part of the ocean. The part where light doesn't escape, where you can go miles and miles and miles and miles and miles deep and still not be close to the bottom. And it gets to a point where the pressure is so intense, you can't even send anything down there to even measure how deep it is. Sound waves won't even make it all the way to the bottom. Sound and light won't make it to the bottom. That's a good way to describe the deficit we're in, US wise. New trade deal just got passed. Trump is, much as we hate what he's been doing, the man is putting in work. Hate what he's been doing. Like with every other politician, you realizing that shit ain't all good and shit ain't all bad. But the bad parts you absolutely fucking hate. But you look at life from a clear point of view, the good parts you should absolutely love with the same intensity. Because again, one of the beneficial parts of no more Section 8 is families are about to come back together. You ain't got no choice but to get you a man now, and not just a man that has all of the luxury shit that you were spending your money on, but someone that understands that my priorities lie within my home first. I have a place to rest my head. That needs to be first and foremost on my priority list. So if you're a baby mama, you better find the most stable man ever. Because if you don't, somebody will very shortly. You don't like him because he's short. He a trash man. He drive a pickup truck to work. He always wearing dirty clothes because he's always on his way to work or coming from work. He don't want to go nowhere. He don't want to go on vacations. His house nice. His bills is paid. As long as he ain't got no mental illness and no substance abuse issues, cuz about to be A1, the hottest thing in the streets, best thing since sliced bread. Cause they about to put the hoe in homeless. Then you get back to the snapping the EBT side, right? And I'm not quite sure when it comes to real estate whether this would be the same effect, but when you're dealing with snapping EBT, you no longer have the food stamp money, right? The crazy thing about the food stamp money is that means it ain't gonna be no funds being spent on a lot of these groceries. Meaning they not selling as many eggs as they were. They're not selling as much orange juice as they were. They're not selling as much bread as they were. Price is about to drop, cuz. Cause shit, niggas is broke. I can't afford them groceries. So how you gonna make the people who can't afford them pay a higher price when you got a lot more of it sitting on the shelves? It's a beautiful thing when you think about it, because on one side, you're getting government assistance. The man is no longer in your home. Your baby daddy lives on his own. The baby mama lives on her own. Those two sides live separately. So the companies get to sell their products to two different households. It don't matter whether they eat all of it. It's the fact that I can sell to two different clients, two different customers. When them two become one, because they've come together or because one of the sides can't afford it anymore, you done made two, but only one can afford one. So what the price is about to look like? Oh, it's about to be. And you mix that with the trade deals that Trump got coming and the investments that he's forcing these foreign companies to make in the U.S. The price is about to look luxurious. Or, from my basic understanding of economics, that's what it is. Because you still got the same supply, but you have half the demand. Or even if you have half the supply, you still got half the demand. Or you make these trade deals and now you double the supply, but you still got half the demand. Simple econ say shit about to get real. And I'm unsure about the same situation with real estate because it's not really supply or demand based because real estate is a product, yes. It's also a service where the house is a product. If you're selling the house, it's a product. But if you're renting a house, it's a service. And supply and demand still works the same way at a very macro level. But housing market been so backed up. Shit's been crazy. You had the people who wanted houses couldn't afford houses, so they moved into apartments. The people who wanted apartments the size of the families wanted can't get those, so they have smaller ones. And the people who wanted the smaller ones can't afford the smaller ones, so they've been living in the shitty ones. I mean, it would be nice to assume that everybody's just gonna move back up into their comfort zone where you can move out of your 3-bedroom apartment and go get your home, and then everybody can get to that next level. But now you got the flood of Section 8 housing becoming available again, and now you don't have people who can afford it. So do those people move up or do they just stay where they're at? I could move up and go get a house, but shoot, I'm just gonna assume the price of this 3 bedrooms gonna go down because y'all not gonna be able to rent all of them because they got to pay for them now. I have to talk to a economics professor or somebody who that's their main priority in life. That's their career goal to understand what the ins and outs of that would even look like. Because pretty sure when you deal with other factors like local government officials and global warming and effects of that, law changes and immigration, then the outsourcing where we selling real estate to foreign countries, you got to factor all these things in. Shit, you never know what direction that can go. Because one thing for sure, two things for certain, shit, they might be buying the real estate, but they're not over here buying the groceries. And before I hop up out of here, right, the overarching theme behind it that I haven't openly spoken on is a lot of the things that people were prioritizing was never a priority. They were tertiary things that folks were prioritizing because they never had to actually invest in their own priorities. But now, when you have to reprioritize and reorganize your way of life and how you think, do you take it to the next step and you really adjust and start to figure out what's going on? Gender roles, right? Where What's expected of you? When you can't afford your house as a woman and you move in with a man, now what are you doing that you weren't doing before in order to find your purpose within this man's household? Cooking, cleaning, what skills do you have? What value are you providing? Because lodging ain't gonna be free, and it can't just be pussy because, again, it's already been an oversaturation, and there's going to be even more of it. And this group of men that have already been used to oversaturation of pussy being available, shit, without you moving in, he can get pussy. So what value are you providing? Now you got to lean back into your femininity. And as a man, if SNAP and EBT are no longer available to you and you still have to pay for groceries or you still have to feed yourself, your job is to be a provider, right? Do you go find a job in which you can afford more groceries or you can afford more meat, or do you not relocate somewhere where you can hunt and you start a garden? Because there are different ways to provide. Remember, a lot of the advancements in technology for humans was just to make things more convenient. You still should be able to go out and hunt. You still should be able to grow your own food. Hell, if you want to take it to the umpteenth degree, you ain't even got to buy no house. You can buy some land and build your own house if you wanted to. Still providing, still protecting. Folks got to reevaluate their lifestyles, got to reevaluate their choices, got to look at the opportunity cost of your choices, got to look at gender roles, got to change your way of thinking because now you in a life or death situation where somebody impressed you and now you got to make a choice. So shit, make your choice. But make your next move your best move. And if you're really smart, think beyond that to figure out how you can never get pressed like that again. Shh. Better stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. You feel me? And funny thing about the government assistance and all of those things is, just like I was talking about in the episode before, so many different symptoms and behaviors and characteristics, laws and thought processes start to pop up and you get out of touch with reality and start to live in a fantasy world. And you start trying to make things make sense and piece things together. That's real breadcrumbing, taking these crumbs and trying to make a loaf. But shit, Section 8 gone. How you gonna live? Where you gonna live? It ain't the imaginary house you seen on Instagram. It ain't the deluxe apartment in the sky. You still got to eat, but shit, that light blue car gone. Fuck you gonna do? You being able to spend your money, your actual money, on just dining out at restaurants and on vacations and shit and all this shit you don't even need. That lifestyle gone. That fantasy of being able to live a luxurious life when you don't make the appropriate decisions is gone. You can't just be born and then just shit. Life is just gonna be perfect just because I'm here. that fantasy gone. So you ain't got no fucking choice. No cat. Got to snap your ass back to reality. Let's talk about it. I get with you.